Hey guys, Rodney Walker here, and just want to continue to talk to you about what it really takes to do freelance grant writing. You know, the last video I shared with you about what it actually meant to do freelance grant writing, and we looked at it as compared to doing more of the traditional grant writing where you're working with just one agency. But in this video, I'm going to share with you some information that's going to help you to learn more about how to go about landing a job. Yes, how do you land a freelance grant writing gig that will compensate you, that will actually pay you some moolah? And we want to take a look at that because that's going to be important, right? You know, we want to do grant writing, we want to do freelance grant writing, but we don't want the grant writing to always be free, right? You may start out, if you're a beginner trying to learn how to do this, maybe with your first project, maybe you will do a freelance grant writing piece where you're trying to build your reputation and begin to kind of get your foot wet. But we don't want to stay there. We want to actually move beyond that and start doing some grant writing that's going to help organizations to get funded, and in the meantime, allow you to get compensated for the valuable work that you're doing by helping them to get funded. So let's grab a seat and let's talk about this a little bit more. And let's just kind of look at some of the different things that are involved with this and look at some of the things that may be important for you to take note of as you get ready to do more your work and trying to land a gig. You know, I want to see you learn what this actually means, and I want to see you actually turn this into something that's going to be really valuable for you, that's going to allow you to really soar. It's going to allow you to grow and really become the type of freelance grant writer that you desire to be. So how do you go about landing a job, Rodney? Well, let me share the first thing. The first thing is, of course, you've got to learn the skill of grant writing. Once you've learned the skill of grant writing, though, now we've got to take it to the next level and get your feet wet and get you some experience and start working towards getting some successes underneath your belt. Now, there are a couple of ways to go about this. Once you learn how to do grant writing, and then once you have felt, got to a place where you say, okay, great, hey, I'm ready to step out and start doing this for some other organizations. A part of the game is now you getting the word out about what you're doing. And that involves a number of different things. That involves you learning how to market yourself. That involves you really, when we start talking about freelancing is really you being an entrepreneur. And it's really a different mindset that has to shift. So that means now you've got to learn about marketing, you've got to learn about business, and you also got to continue to enhance your skill and become more proficient in your grant writing. Now, it's going to involve a number of different things, but let's just focus for the time being on how do you land a remote grant writing job, okay, which involves your marketing. So let me share with you some of how I did it when I first started out. I first started out learning about grant writing, and after I learned about it, I took a number of classes and took a number of trainings, and once I felt like, okay, great, hey, I'm ready to do this thing now. The first thing that I did was I started sharing my insight with others, because here's the thing. You've got a couple of ways that you can go about getting business. One, you can be the hunter and you're just going after business and trying to find those that will be likely to hire you, or you can attract them. And a part of what may need to happen for you to really be successful is to do a little of both. But I tend to prefer to be on the side of attracting my ideal clients. So how did I go about attracting them? When I first started out, I was not doing grant writing remotely. I was doing it locally. So let me tell you about the local, and then we'll go and take a look at how you go about doing it remotely. Now, the way I did it locally is very similar to some of the things you will need to do, possibly, to attract people remotely. So when I started locally, I said, okay, great, let me take my knowledge and let me take my information and let me share it with some people. I just finished learning and taking several hours and hours of classes of learning about grant writing. And I feel like, okay, great, I got this thing down, now I'm ready to do it. And I had some great examples of my work. I had mock examples of my work. I felt very proficient. So the very first thing that I decided to do was I decided to do some training, and I did a free grant writing workshop. That workshop, long story short, ended up turning into business. It ended up turning into business. Some of the people who came to that workshop invited me to another workshop and to do another workshop. And then from that workshop, people heard my expertise, and then they started asking me, hey, would you consider writing a grant for us? Okay, so I got business from sharing the knowledge and the information. The workshop, the training that I did was free, but I started sharing the information, and that started attracting people my way. Now, I hear you. You may be saying, Rodney, I'm just trying to get in the game. I'm nervous about even talking to people, okay? So there are different ways you can still do it where you can share your knowledge and your expertise. Let me give you some examples. For instance, these days, what would happen if you started a blog and started writing in this area and started sharing the information that you know with other people to start attracting them? And this doesn't have to be something long and arduous that you have to make some long article that's a 15-page article. I'm talking about just a single one-page article. And if you're doing grant writing, you've got to get used to writing. You've got to get used to cranking out information. This is a part of you literally marking yourself. So what I'm saying in essence is this: you will have to roll up your sleeves and start putting in some work to be successful in this, and it's going to call for you to market. So I started attracting clients with information, and you can do that through videos. You can do that. You don't feel comfortable being in front of the video. You can also do it with articles. You can write a blog and take your knowledge and put it there. You can start thinking of helpful information that would be helpful for your prospective clients. Now, who are your prospective clients? We've got to define it. Your prospective clients are other executive directors that are seeking to get funding for their organizations. So a part of what you have to do is get in front of these executive directors and let them know about your service. And so when you provide something helpful for them that can be insightful, informative, that can add value to them, that begins to pull them and attract them to you. So you might want to take some time just to think about, as a freelancer, what would be attracted to my ideal client, and who is my ideal client, okay? So I started out, remember, doing it locally, doing event-based attraction. You may do online event-based attraction to start attracting potential clients to come your way. The name of the game is this. The name of the game is really getting in front of your prospective client, and that means that you've got to grab their attention. Again, different ways to grab their attention, and as you grab their attention, you then share with them your expertise, and if they find value in what you're offering, and if they actually think that you can assist them, then they will be asking you about your services, okay? So the beautiful thing is, when you go online, it allows you to attract people from literally all over. And when I started out, one of the first things I did was I developed a web presence. Now let me tell you about this. I didn't have a lot of money when I was doing this because I was just starting out, and maybe you're just starting out as well. So I became a member of a group, and this group, I remember it was like the Nonprofit Alliance. They allowed me to have a single web page, and I put my information there, and was eventually I started having people that started coming my way from that little one single page. Now, things have shifted, and I'm not a big fan of being in crowded places where there are a lot of people doing the same thing that I'm doing, but I was fortunate in that regard. The big thing that I'm trying to say to you is you definitely want to get a web presence, okay? You want to get a web presence because if you're not there, you don't exist. And a big part of the game for you is going to be learning how to get people to come your way, and they need to see you. A LinkedIn profile could be a great place to start, okay? Now, in my next part of this, I'm going to continue on and give you some more insights, so stay tuned. Remember, be brave, be bold, be brilliant, and take charge.